Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Team World Elite in the red trunks. We got Samsung Galaxy in the blue trunks. Team World Elite coming in as the higher seed. They took first in their group, which means they get to choose first. Right, ruler? Yesterday, we saw the strength of blue side. We also saw the strength of Faker and Galio. People might say, Galio's broken, shouldn't let Galio be picked. If Galio lost that 5th game, people would be like, why you put Faker on Galio? Why you put Faker on such a champion that only helps teammates? Blah, 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 blah. Yesterday, the last game, RNG, they outdrafted themselves. They were on a Lee Sin, and that Lee Sin was blind. It was useless in every way possible. So, without further ado, Team World Elite versus Samsung Galaxy. Team World Elite have had a lot of success with the Galio, a lot of success with the Kog'Maw, and they are also really known for having a fantastic Xayah. So a lot of what's going on is very centered around the fact that Mystic is a fantastic player. Condi's also been great, and most of the time when World Elite have been ahead in the bottom side, they've had an easy time snowballing the game. So Team World Elite, their way in is to make sure that they have better picks in bottom, because I think it's way more in depth as well how far their champion pool goes. And Samsung Galaxy, their bot lane, they've been okay. I don't think they've done any super standout performances. I think they played great against Longzhu, but I think that fell on other things more than anything else. I think BDD and Khan got outmatched by their peer. Like BDD was winning lane until 1-6, so that was a problem. So we'll have to see for Shia as well, like if he busts out a Lucian against Crown, because Crown has been very, very weak in the early laning phases and then playing better in the later stages of the game. So we'll have to pay attention to that. World Elite have this flavor kind of flare picks that they like to play, which is arguably the most strongest picks right now in the current meta. And in the shape of Galio, Kog'Maw, and then the Janna. And I doubt that they're going to get everything. Red side for Samsung. I wanna hear the hype man. Whoa! Holy shit. Okay, that's enough. Oh, here he is. There he is. The hype man himself. Reppin' OGN. 스토리와 비슷하게 삼성 역시 2013년, 14년 시즌에 굉장한 전선을 만들어냈습니다. 하지만 그 후 팀 로스의 전면 교체. This is Korean, no? He's talking Korean in a. 어려운 시기를 겪었습니다. 하지만 잘 극복하고 지난해 월드컵에서는 준우승을 차지했습니다. 그런데 말입니다. 지난 대회 준우승이 지난 대회. Ambition. Wait, he announced them all? Alright, I don't know. It's not that good actually. He's cool. Respect. I put respect on his name. Alright, let's just head into draft. Let's just see what happens. Everyone predicting Samsung. I'm predicting Samsung too. I think World Elite can take it to a lot of games though. World Elite. This is star right here. Samsung Galaxy banning Janna, Kog'Maw, putting Xayah Khan in a clinch. The main thing here, does Ruler even play Xayah? Like yesterday, it was really strange to see a lack of priority when it came to Zaya Rakan. But right now, as it stands, does Samsung Galaxy even play Zaya Rakan? Because the big reasoning here could be that World Elite just pick Zaya because it's a more premium pick, but I think Zaya looks a lot worse without Rakan and Janna. So I feel like Rakan's value goes up. And Conde has been very, very happy picking Gragas. Because Samsung, like, they should be able to pick Zaya, right? It should be no problem. Like, they should be picking Zaya. I'm not a fan of this. They should be picking Zaya, to be honest. World Elite will just pick Zaya Gragas, I assume. They should pick the premium jungler, and Conde has been a fantastic Gragas. Yahoo! Yahoo! Sorry, and bless my face. Oh, what a way to start the day. With a couple of sneezes. Gragas it is. Samsung with the support pick, like, I don't know, they could go for Morgana. Taric is fine too, I guess, if you manage to predict the ultimate. Like, it's not too bad, like, it's not too shabby. Like, World Elite, I think Zaya Rakan has been severely underrated this tournament. You're sure we have seen a ban of one a lot of times, and I think that shows that teams are considering it, but there's been a lot of cases where it's just gone through and not picked at all. I think there's not a lot of good Zaya players at this tournament. I think Uziai doesn't play Zaya, and Mystic is probably the best one. Jace ban from red side. That's interesting. I think we saw Mystic play it in mid lane. I mean, Shia playing it in mid lane against Cloud9. That was where we saw it. It's a pretty neat trick to do, because you can kind of save a ban and put yourself in a better position if you just do that. Like, where if you want to ban one extra for top, and then you have a champion that gets countered by Jace, or let's say it gets countered by Jace, Gnar, and Trundle, and all of a sudden you ban two, and then you pick the other, and you're in a better situation. World Elite, I don't know, they should pick Shen here, potentially. Shen has been a very strong champion. I think it works together with Rakan. Crown, I think Talia is one of his best champions, if not his best champion. So I find that interesting. He's the one that, also played a lot of Galio himself. Or did he play a lot of Galio? I know he played Malzahar. He plays the champions that can be good into Galio and have success into that. Kassadin could be neat as well, something that has just possibility to jump in. Kassadin could be good against Jarvan Ultimate, and a lot of the mages, you put yourself in a bad spot if you are just weak against Jarvan. So anything with jump, like LeBlanc, could be interesting too. But I think LeBlanc against Tristana is kind of hard to do. There it is. Alright, World Elite, I like World Elite's composition here, but Samsung also have a lot of tools to get into the game. The main question mark here is, like, how well is this Zaya Rakan going to do? Because I think that's the only blunder here in draft. But then again, I feel like you shoot yourself in the foot by picking Zaya alone against Rakan. I think it's not the greatest thing you can do. But then again, you can just go Zaya Morgana and be happy with it and be fine. And I think that can be good against Gragas, that can be good against Sejuani, and Mickey X. We talked, like, I talked together with Mickey X yesterday, and he told me that Morgana is an underrated champion, and the applications for it would be to deny some of these tanky junglers the opportunity to engage. And I think that's a very reasonable way to put it. So looking back at it, the draft, let's see if this Zaya Rakan can be shut down. I think it's a very powerful combo. And looking at the other parts of the draft, I think Cannon's gonna do very well against Shen in top lane. I like the Cannon pack into Shen. And secondly, Talia into Kassadin. This is Talia having the pressure early on. And then, of course, Kassadin outscaling Talia in the lane and also in the game. Side lane priority is going to be very strong here for World Elite, and their comp kind of meshes together very well because the Kassadin Shen should be able to deal with Talia Cannon on side because of the global pressure. Kassadin is going to run teleport, and YamatoCannon are going to be very happy with just being in mid lane and farming away with the static shift. More potentially Hurricane. Like, they're going to be able to clear waves very well, and engaging onto the Gragas as well is going to be a difficult thing to do. But of course, it's always possible. You know, Jarvan can always find engages, and Gragas is going to look for disengages in mid lane while the split push game is commencing. A big question mark as well is for Samsung is how far ahead can they put Cannon, and what build Cannon is going to go for. Because if he buys AD, he's going to be a lot better off facing the Kassadin. If he buys like this attack speed build with Wit's End and this type of shenanigans, then it's going to be a lot better. Because if he buys the standard build, he's going to lose side against Kassadin, lose side eventually against Shen, and that can be a massive issue. And if he goes AP, he's going to be more teamfight heavy, and that could be a reasoning too. But, you know, in the end, Kondi is going to have a big job in this game, and we'll have to just pay attention to his ultimates, because his ultimates can be very detrimental for the outcome of a lot of fights. Can he push away Cannon? Can he deny Jarvan engage? Can he do a lot of those things? And World Elite are going to just look to engage with the Rakan and the Shen together. Even with Kassadin is a possibility. Alright, we got some fighting going on. I think World Elite are really strong in this fight because of YamatoCannon. Oof. Crazy how strong they are, and Samsung give away first blood already. Let's take a look. Like, Samsung have Talia, and they managed to get in, and they are on a ward. Kondi gets stunned. I think the problem is that Talia is not here. Like, if Talia gets her Q combo here on Kondi, then I think they are in a better position to win the fight. But Crown is here so late, and let me just take a look at the decision here from World Elite. So World Elite invade completely and ward up the enemy top side. Then they want to regain control in the bot side by face shaking with all, and Shen is walking through mid lane. Really like what World Elite is doing here. I'm gonna copy this actually. I'm gonna go so far to copy this because I really like this. Shen is gonna be back in time for top if he just walks through mid lane into top, and at the same time he's in position for any fight. Like, in this case, he doesn't impact it at all, but it could have been like clutch that he was there. Like, regardless, there was no chance that World Elite would lose 4v5, and I like the move from 957. We'll just have to pay attention to how much CS he actually loses when he walks back up top. But World Elite just go for an invade, and then, of course, because they are blind in their own jungle, they need to retake it. So they face shake bushes with Gragas, and then Shen is walking through mid lane in position to go for that, no problem. Ambition now very far behind. Let's see if Kondi can punish that. It's going to be a bit harder because Gragas' jungle clear is not the fastest one, and it looks like 957 got all 3 melees looking at XP values. No biggie. Just catch up. I was confused today because I think we are in winter time. 28th of October is when we changed to winter time. Xayah and Rakan duo, 100% win ratio. Now that would have been a cooler stat than just 2-0. That would be like a what's it called? CNN stat. 100% win ratio, YamatoCannon. Absolutely broken. That's pretty strong. I like it. I like it a lot. I think the jump range for Rakan becomes really ridiculous. Let's see now. The main thing with Ambition's unhealthy, no leash clear is he's unhealthy, you know. And Kondi is now taking enemy golems, and there's no chance that Ambition will respond here. He's going to regen a bit from the crab, but it's too risky to go for the golem. It's going to take him a lot of time as well. I don't even know if he can take them, because physical damage heroes do worse against golems than AP damage, because they have a lot of armor but little armor. Ooh, Ben. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hoi, hoi, hoi. Look at Ben go. Look at Ben go. It's really hard to catch Rakan in any CC. I think Rakan as a champion does very well. Into Trash, into Tarek. I think Braum is probably the best. Like, Braum is probably the best melee champion into it. Alistar is also very good. And then, with that in consideration, I think a lot of the range supports do a lot better against Rakan than Tarek. I think Morgana is probably like the best one. I think Morgana is fantastic into it. You just backshield your core targets and you can't really engage, and you're a range champion. You can harass them in lane bottom. But World Elite, with that first blood, they can go for an early BF base here on Xayah. She didn't buy anything with that first blood gold. And with this wave stacking in, like, they can either hit the turret or they can just get a clean base here and get a BF, and Tristana's not going to get a BF. But right now, with them hitting the turret, it's going to make it harder as well for Tristana to hit, any CS. Because see, Gragas is coming in now from the right side. This could be dangerous. Flash comes in. Kondi is going to look for the trade. TP comes in as well. Talia is forced to TP out, and we have 2 cancellations. This cancellation is better for Kuve, because Shen wanted to TP back into lane here. But regardless, actually, the outcome is not that bad for Shen. Shen is happy with his outcome. Like, Cannon's not going to be pushing in time, and he can't TP back. Like, looking at the wave, it was just strange to me that did Shen manage to push this in the entire way? Like, it looks like Shen managed to push this in the entire way, with the wave bouncing and killing the next wave. It seems like Shen managed to push in the entire way against Cannon. And usually the way you want to play it, my understanding is that you have to thin out the wave. You have to thin out the wave big time. But at the same time, I don't know what reasoning Kuve had when it came to like Gragas being behind them doing golems. But usually the way you want to play with Cannon is that you thin out the wave, so the enemy guy can't push in the wave completely. Because Shen got a very clean base here. Him TPing into mid lane is way better than Kuve TPing into mid lane. Because Kuve can't push this in time. He can't push this in time, no way. And that's the problem here. 957 delivering and playing pretty well. He has a big wave stack and a tower, so the CS disadvantage is a lie. Zara can finally base. But this time around, if they base, like, Rule is also going to have BF, and the advantage is not going to be that big. The difference here we see is a cull, and sure, that's cool too. Cull is cool. An issue here for World Elite is, running Talia into Shen kind of disables you from doing a lot of things. And getting by an AP, he's going to be like not the strongest thing against Shen. Like, he's not going to win split super hard. Oh, the E was missing from Mystic. So let's take a look at what Kondi's, how Kondi's decision making is shaping up here. There's red. It's going into mid lane. According to my eyes, there's 2 pink wards around mid lane. 1. I'm struggling to read the minimap here. It's looking so tiny. I'm assuming there's 1 pink ward there. Then they walk towards bottom side. Rakan and Xayah have priority because they base first. And now they're continuing on to bottom. Like, World Elite's bot lane is just going to be stronger and stronger the further it goes. And Show that the stun lands onto. Like usually this is a bad trade, right? Because Mystic fucks up his E. He fucks up his E and it doesn't root up Ruler. Ruler moves upwards and downwards. So the feathers are split up. But they just committed to the trade because Gragas was behind them and they burned both summoners of Tarek. And the map gets mirrored. But World Elites are very happy with this, you know, they can just continue pressuring into bottom, and question is if they could have just set up the dive when like Shen could just ult into bottom. They're pinging into bottom tower, and I don't know if they should just commit for the dive right now. Talia can move in, Shen is ult ready, Cannon has TP, Talia could move in, Jarvan is nowhere to be found, they're hitting bottom tower. Samsung don't seem to have any response play, but they're going for the defensive one where Jarvan is bottom side, and Talia did get mid priority during this, so Cassidy needs to walk back, but that's a huge chunk on the bottom tower with no response. I feel like World Elites are directing themselves towards a first tower here. 957 is very healthy under the turret too, and Ambition is on bottom side, being spotted by the vision that Kundi put out. It's just such a difficult situation for Ambition. Like, should he commit to the dive up top, or does he do the defensive play? Because the dive up top doesn't seem that convincing, if we're honest. Diving a Shen might be hard as long as Shen maintains like a healthy lifeline. But Ambition's move into bottom made sure that the turret lived another day. But of course, they are still going to lose first tower most likely, because he can't just sit bottom the entire time, and if Kundi matches, he's going to lose. But Kundi is now top side. Kundi is currently clearing his topside jungle, and World Elite know about this. Ambition gets spotted on the Crabberoo. I think he's just walking bottom to push in, if anything. I think that's the goal for Samsung right now, so they can go back without any issues, killing the wave really fast and doing that as soon as possible. World Elite could potentially just take it with the next wave though. But if they don't, then they're in a bad spot where the enemy team have a base advantage if they just don't go and recall. Everything's mirrored now though. Ambition has his camps up top side, and Kundi is running down bot. Shen ultimate is on cooldown. And there we go. They had enough time to just take the turret with no risk. The strange thing about perfect game, like when people say, oh, they perfect game those guys, usually that happens when you have like 3 really hard winning lanes. You need to have like 3 hard winning lanes that are winning at all times and pushing at all times. That's how you perfect game someone, right? And if you play like perfect macro and the enemy team also plays good macro, and you don't have like super hard winning lanes, then if you play good macro, the enemy team are gonna be able to chip away at the outer towers. You can't play maximum with maximum efficiency and make sure that your outer turrets don't take any damage, because eventually they will. Like in this case, you know, Samsung couldn't have gotten a better base. They still got damage on the turret. All right. Let's take a look here. So I'm finding sneaky what she is doing. Like Talia is playing into bottom side, and then the moment he just walks up top side, I don't know if he gets spotted by this ward. Probably not. The ward in mid lane. He just walks up top and goes behind the Rift Herald, and Cannon is quite overextended, so this is quite free for Shia here. Kube is also losing the trade 1v1 against Shen. So that is interesting. I don't even know if 957 needed. needed the cannon. But this is a big deal, you know, Shen getting a kill, accelerating him. Like if he gets mercs and time already, then I think this matchup will just go downwards for Kuve. Kuve will have to find effectiveness in team fights, and like he will struggle in side lane against Kassadin. He won't do much against Shen either. So that's why, you know, this cannon pick definitely comes into question. The main thing is, you know, right here, did I mention it? Like Rakan already has Ardent Sensor, pushed out bottom, and right now Zaya Rakan are insanely strong, insanely strong. Like usually the pass spike comes post 6. Like they spike a bit at level 3 when Rakan gets all his abilities, but level 6 is where they are the strongest, and they were winning really hard before that point. Now they have Ardent Sensor and an Essence Reaver as an advantage because of the turret gold and the CS advantage. It is a big deal, and they're swapping up top side. I don't know if this was the greatest decision here, because Cannon is allowed to push out top. Sieging mid lane was not that useful, because Talia has a lot of wave clear, and then Tristana is starting to push out bottom. And right now, you know, with the swap, Shen has itemized towards Cannon. Itemized towards Cannon, not towards the enemy bot lane. And right now, as it stands, World Elites are very behind on tempo, and it looks like Samsung could potentially go for a second turret here. Gragas could potentially help and defend it, but then maybe Kuve can stay on the turret if Gragas shows. But if Gragas is missing for the entire duration, then maybe not. 4-man now bottom. Kuve can also TP. That is like the biggest differential here. Talia can ult in, and maybe they can go for this dive. They are outnumbering the enemy with 2. Kassadin and Shen and Gragas are the beefiest targets though on the enemy team. Rakan is basing already and rushing bottom, and Samsung kind of pussy out. Oh, this is a lot of damage. Damn. But this is Shen we're talking about. The taunt doesn't land, and Kuve has flash, but he should be dead. No way he should be living right now, and this was not that good of a play. Kuve, not that great this game. I think Kuve's play has been not that good. And I just have to put the pick into question as well. Like he had some success with Cannon, right? But it's just when you are last picking and this is what you come up with, I don't think it's that fancy. World Elite at the same time, you know, I have to ask myself if, you know, if they could have just dove in here on bottom. Like keeping in mind that World Elite a 2-man top, Kuve to TP in, Javan finding an angle from behind, and then Talia also coming in. Like to be fair, you know, Gragas and Shen and Kassadin are hard targets to stick to, and Tristana doesn't have that much damage yet, so it would come with a lot of risk, for sure. But it's very bold, like World Elites are very willing to defend the towers 3, and I like that type of play. You know, from a macro standpoint, you know, you can't always pin down the way you should react to situations like this, because it really depends on the state of the game. You know, this is not something that you can just say, if this happens, guys, then you have to do this and this, because it's not always true, right? And in this case, I like that World Elites are willing to put their foot out and defend. Talia is getting smashed. The flash was pretty short. The E flash from Shia. See what Crown is up to here in the mid lane. Shen pushed out top. Gragas goes for deep vision while Shen is pushing out top. Xayah in the bot lane while this is going on. And then the Xayah rotation into Kuvik catching bottom. But there was a fight in mid lane happening. Okay. Now we have everything under control. Let's take a look at what Crown does. Oh, okay. Walks up too far. Gets smashed. Bye, Ben. That's a huge chunk of the wave clear. Or at least I'm just going for the Rift Herald instead to get that 100 gold. And potentially the mid tower with it. Well, elites are pretty short range, you know, they have wave clear, but hitting the tower is not the easiest thing to do. They can kill it very fast when it's unattended. Oh! Okay. Alright. Fancy, fancy, fancy. That is close. Let's take a look at, man, I don't want to see the crowd. I want to see the HP here of Xia. But nevertheless, good shit. Good shit from Xia. Was awfully close here for Cannon, but you know, I think Cannon should lose this every time. Cannon should lose this every time, and you know, Xia, I think Kobe played it as good as he could, but this is the problem. Like, this is going to be just even worse as we proceed. As we move on now, it's going to be even worse. Maybe they'll show us the HP now of Xia. I think he was like at maybe 10 HP, 5 HP. I'm assuming Shen didn't have ult. Like, if Shen had ultimate, then 957 would have like the coldest balls you've ever seen. You know, they would be like crystal blue, man. Like Heisenberg blue, man. So I'm assuming 957 didn't have ultimate. So now the big deal, the problem appears, right? Sure, World Elites are very far ahead. Maybe in a game that would be more even, maybe it would look differently. This is not too bad. This is not too bad for Samsung. They World Elite burn a lot of engage here for ambition. But they did chunk him out, so they can walk up now to the next turret and start hitting it. Can push the next wave as well, and you know, Mystic with the rapid fire cannon can provide a bit of safety for himself, and good ultimate there because he would have been knocked up. World Elite just dive bottom straight up with Shen ultimate on, casted in, no flash on Kuve. Rift Herald does damage, but not enough to take the turret, and maybe World Elite can get it with the next wave because they're sending people to defend bottom, and this seems to me like a free mid lane turret right here. Ambition could be caught. Good knockup from Ben, knocking some people up. This looks like World Elite have it by the balls already. Interesting that they're willing to bring out different compositions as well. Casted in with the Shen, that's a very powerful one, and I like that they bring it out like this. And Crown, very famous for his Talia. The Orianna ban, you know, it makes more sense now if you want to play Kassadin. It makes a lot more sense. Especially, you know, knowing Samsung won to last pick top. It's been a very important part of their success. I don't think Cannon is the best pick in this game. You know, Cannon is a very difficult one to put into the right place. You know, Cannon is a champion that sometimes is good and sometimes is completely garbage. And you have to look beyond the matchups and look at how your role will play out in the game. In a lot of cases, you know, I remember the time where Cannon lost a lot against Rengar. Like, Rengar was one of the good champions in the Cannon because he could just one-shot him in split. This was when Rengar was like really, really strong. And picking Cannon into that was always like a big no-no. But generally speaking, you know, World Elite in this scenario should be able to just take it home. They win in split, they win in mid lane. Tristana's way too far behind. Well, the lead played a fantastic game. I think it also comes down to Cannon being punished and Ambition having a very bad start. When Ambition has a bad start on his Jarvan, he can't really play around Talia as early as he wants to, and it slows him down big time to actually punish the Castellan from 1 to 6. And when Ambition has to do his jungle clear without getting anything, then it's a big issue. And if anything, I don't know, maybe he should have just went for like a level 2 gank anyway into mid, even though he was late. But dying for Ambition, coming to his camps late, and all of that jazz just stops him from creating any pressure onto Cassidy during his weak stage. And Cassidy eventually reached a higher level, and when that happens, you know, he can start pressuring Talia, and the game changes drastically. I'm a big fan of Cassidy into Talia. I think it's a very tough matchup for Talia. Got something in my eye. Not crying for Samsung. So Samsung now, a big issue for them is that, you know, the Xayah thing. Should they have picked Xayah? Should they have picked Xayah away? This is maybe the best chance Samsung's going to get. Should they have picked Xayah away? That is like the big question. Is it a problem that they haven't, like they don't have anything else prepared against Rakan than Taric? Really focus on that Ardent Sensor. You know, Tristana is still like not a bad pick by any means, right? Like we've seen Tristana win a lot, and Tristana as a champion has had a lot of success in the matches with. I think Tristana as a champion is when the weaker ADs want to carry, they pick Tristana, because Tristana I think is really easy to play. Like I think Tristana is one of the easiest champions to play in terms of AD. Like Kog'Maw is a lot harder, and like the LPL ADs are willing to play that Kog'Maw. They're willing to play Xayah in Mystic's case, and then first picking Rakan. I don't know. The only response from Samsung was to take Xayah and Jarvan away, but it just didn't happen. And then what comes into question after that is the Cannon pick. Like, how good is the Cannon? Going AP against Shen, not going to win split. You're going to lose against Cassidy in split buying AP, and that is all she wrote. Alright, interesting stuff. First game for World Elite. First victory. Very good shit. I think World Elite has been underestimated, and Samsung has been overrated coming into this best of 5. But this is just the beginning. Let's see what happens next. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.